There we go. Rebirth and renewal. Okay, so we're in that season now. It is April. Spring is now upon us. And if we know anything about spring, growth. Talking about that new season when the leaves start coming back on the trees, the grass becomes greener, the bugs start coming out, and summer is almost here. Yet spring is that time for growth. So now we must begin to spring forward anew. So our affirmation is going to be, I grow through every challenge and learn from my experiences. I grow through every challenge and learn from my experiences. Challenges and experiences. Two things that we often don't associate with each other. Why? Because we may avoid a challenge and we don't necessarily see how that affects our experience. See, we think the challenge is going to hinder, when a lot of times the challenge is what enhances. So we avoid that which we are meant to learn from, and that learning is what allows us to grow. This is why we talk about the importance of education, and you can see that when you don't learn, you don't grow. So if you don't even have the opportunity, or your ability to learn is hindered, is going to affect your growth. This doesn't start and end when we're children. It's forever. Those of us that refuse to learn, they don't grow. They're stunted. They're in the same place they were whenever it was that they stopped learning. Those who continue to learn continue to grow. And so when you're saying learning and everybody's like, well, no, I went back to school and I got this degree and I read these books, and that's not necessarily learning. See, the challenges, right? And those experiences, that equals the learning. So what did you go through? Or what was it? What did you read? Right? And do you understand it? And that understanding can then be applied. And now we understand, we see that learning has taken place. And you say that in the Marines a lot. It was like, all right, gents, learning has occurred. When you did something, like if you did something right, they're like, oh, learning has occurred. Because, we stupid. At least that was the thought. So for me, it's as it is applied, we see what we have learned. So the question that I have here is, are we inviting that growth? Because we can be hindering it by avoiding things instead of inviting it in and experiencing. So when you look back on your most challenging moments, do you see pain or do you see growth? For me, I'm able to see growth now, where at one time I saw pain. Like, you look back into the past, you reflect on things prior, and do you see pain? What happened to you? Or do you see growth? what you became from that. And an easy way that we can check is when we reflect on things, when we look back, are we playing the blame game? Are we playing the blame game and saying, well, this person did this to me, and just leaving it at that? Or are you seeing that, well, this person may have done this to me, yet still, I didn't allow it to, yeah, I didn't stay there. And in fact, what they thought they were doing to me, they end up really doing to themselves. Because to lose me is a good thing. That's what you should be saying when you are a good being. So we don't dwell on the past and think about what someone did to us, because we remember what we allow when we are switching over into that empowered mindset. You start to recognize that it is what you allow which happens to you. So nobody can do something to you that you're not allowing. So if you're allowing it, you can disallow. Is that a word? You can stop it. I don't think we notice those are like within the same cycle, start and stop. If it starts, it can stop. And if it's stopped, it can start. Or I'm seeing those things more on the same lines now, whereas I even thought one time that they may have been different. Like, oh, it stopped. That means it's over. It's like, no, it just stopped. You can start it again. And if you start it, you can stop it if you want to at any time. You don't have to keep going just because it's been this long or just because whatever the reason. You can reverse that. That's the will we have. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to grow. That's why I said, are we inviting in the growth? Because you don't have to grow if you don't want to. I mean, do we not see the beauty in that? You can say, I don't want to grow. Or I do want to grow. Or can you say that? And the reason why I ask is because until you're actually in control, you don't get to choose. Yet imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine if you were, this is a game show, right? You're playing a game and you think you're in control of the game. And then all of a sudden, like maybe your attention is taken away and you look away from the game and then the character is still going. And then you put the controller down and look up and the character is still going. The whole time you thought you were in control, somebody else was actually dictating what goes on. That's like unfair. This is like why we had a problem with carnival games, because you think that they're rigged. Well, life is rigged until you take control. So you're going along playing this game that you think you have control in, but it's dictated by something else. And so you're either playing along and thinking that you're doing something, or you're on the side where you're not going to play at all because you think that the game is rigged. And so you have no choice and there's nothing you can do. Yet, again, when you are living inspired, when you have gotten rid of the old life and embraced the new life, you recognize that both things can be true. Yep, the game can be rigged, and you could have been playing and not even knowing. Yet now you know both are true. So you are in control. You know that the game is rigged. So if you know how that the game is rigged, right? This must mean you understand the rules. So you actually know how to play. So it makes it doesn't hit the same for me when I think about how my mindset used to be like, man, I'm not playing because why? They rigged the game anyway, so why even play? And it's like, actually, wait. If I, how could I know the game is rigged unless I also know the rules? You have to know how to play to know that the game is rigged. So instead of me removing myself, I said, wait, I need to then just get in control. So, in fact, it's not truly that the game is rigged. It's that we didn't control our pieces before. And that's truly unfair. The game is going to be the game, yet you have to be in control of your pieces. And then you have to know how they work, how to move them. Now you can truly play and develop yourself and your skills. And now those challenges are the experiences that you learn from. The game is no fun when you don't understand the rules, you can't control your own player, and you don't even know how to play anyway. And when they create the atmosphere to be that, to push us that way, to make it hard for us to understand the rules or control our own pieces to play the game, then we're likely to tap out and want to give up. And that's not life. Because life is living inspired every day, forever. That means we have to be inspired to never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. Now we're learning, okay, I understand how this game is played. I have to give this every day. Okay. So now I got to prepare myself to develop myself to be able to do that. Because now I know what I have to do. That's cool. Now, how do I develop myself to be that way? How do I develop myself so when I look back on those challenging moments, I don't see the pain, I see the growth. Or growth is not necessarily an event, something that just happens one time. It's a process, it's continuous, it unfolds through every experience when we are willing to reflect and receive. And that reflection piece is huge because that's a lot of what we're missing. We don't reflect, nor do we look upon our reflection. And when we think about that, it reveals what we actually have a problem with. I don't want to look upon my own reflection in the mirror, nor do I want to reflect upon things to gaze in the mirror of life. I have a problem with the man in the mirror. I have an issue with myself, with me. And if that's where it starts, if you once you identify that's where it starts, now we can begin to cultivate the grounds so true growth can happen. And we have to be willing to reflect and then receive. So when you look upon it, when you reflect back, you have to be willing to receive the lesson, the part that you played. I know, like you want to just blame them and say what they did to you or how horrible they is, because they might be horrible. They just might be. Yet also, you might have a part that you played in that, or some things that you may have did that attributed to it one way or the other. Maybe you, again, we allow the people to treat us that way or to mistreat us because we didn't know how to treat us. This is a lesson that we have to receive in order to grow when we're going through things like that. I know for me personally, it was like I had to reflect back and say, you know what? It's on me, this part, because I allowed that because look at what I was doing at the time. Look at the mindset that I had at that time. I wasn't really moving or thinking like this. So of course I would be in a situation like that. Now it don't mean I'm like about to get back with my ex or that I'm absolving them of anything. No, it's just this is the forgive and don't forget. I can remove what they did because what sense does it make to allow somebody else who is not even a part of your life anymore to deprive you of the present and future gifts and blessings that you are going to receive simply because you're still holding on to that? What they did to you was horrible. Yeah, sure. Yet, once you recognize that, okay, this is how it happened, you can let that go. Whether that was a failed relationship, whether it was an opportunity, it was a job, there are equal parts that we play. And this is what's hard to grasp. This is the part that's hardest to grasp. Because what it sounds like is that you are trying to make an excuse for somebody. And it's not necessarily that. What I want you to see is that that person is the excuse that we need to release because it's not about anybody. It's about me. It's about you. You can't allow something that, again, it's not even here anymore. It happened. So then, if I'm still holding on to what has happened to me, that's now a weight that I'm dragging through my whole life that's pulling me back at every opportunity. And I can release that and let it go. How freeing that actually is. How much lighter you are after being able to release that. Recognizing that these things are what's hindering your growth. You thought you had a ceiling, like you did because you built it. Whoever said you had to have a ceiling, boom, you burst through that. Once we realize that literally there are plants that grow through concrete, and how that is symbolic to you and your struggle, how we too can grow through the concrete. Are you inviting in the growth? For it says in 2 Corinthians 13:5, examine yourselves, whether ye be in faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates. Examine yourselves. That's key. The command right there. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in faith. Didn't say, hey, go knock on your neighbor's door and ask them. And say, go up the street and call your cousin or ask your mama, or no, it said, examine yourselves. Didn't say, go to the doctor and say, doctor, I need you to examine. They said, examine yourselves, whether ye be in faith. Are you? Prove your own selves. So if we just stop right there, self-reflection is a tool for transformation. What do we have to do? Examine myself. Am I in faith? If I am, then I can prove my own self. This is why it's like, don't try to prove them wrong. Prove yourself right. You don't have to worry about proving them wrong. Prove yourself right. We put so much emphasis on them, they, instead of I and me. I can prove myself right. If I believe in it and I keep going, eventually I'm gonna prove myself right. I'm gonna prove myself. This is reminding me of the scientific theory and how I believe that that is a tool for life. Because a lot of times we're not conducting the experiment. We're not making that scientific hypothesis. What's the thesis? We're not determining, all right, so if this were to happen, let me go test that. Boom. Then you prove yourself right. You say, see, now I need to adjust this and add a little bit more of that. Take this, remove that. Instead, we're looking at things from, we're like peeping toms in other people's lives. We're looking through their windows and seeing what they're doing and making judgments on them. And it says, examine yourselves. Are ye, whether ye be in faith? Prove your own selves. And then this part, this is key for me. Prove your own selves. How? How that Jesus Christ is in you. Matter of fact, let's go back. Because after you prove yourself, know ye not yourself. Know ye not your own selves. Know ye not your own selves. How that Jesus Christ is in you. See, this is why we keep talking about it ain't on you, it's in you. And if you only knew. We can get ourselves out of the mess that we ourselves got in. Examine yourself. Native American saying that I would like to share says the soul would have no rainbow if the eyes had no tears. The soul would have no rainbow if the eyes had no tears. And we talk about challenges earlier and how we avoid challenges. That shows us how pain can be that gateway to wisdom and beauty. The pain that we avoid, the thing that we don't like looking at, can be or is, however we use it, a gateway to wisdom and beauty. That hurt can be a gateway. And if we understand what a gateway is, when you go through the other side, you take yourself somewhere that you've never been. So if we are avoiding that, not wanting to go through that gateway onto the other side, then we avoid those places that we've never been, those experiences that we never get to see, yet we dream about. We should know what dreams are. As Buddha said, what we think, we become. What we think, we become. So in our mind, we plant those seeds for transformation. And we must be aware of this because it is happening regardless. And I'm thankful that I've learned that lesson because it's reduced my arguments by 99.9%. Once I recognize that, I don't even have to argue, because this is what a lot of people would love to do. They want to, again, they're peeping in your window, determining what you're doing, judging what you're doing. So they want to say, that's not right. And if you argue with them, you just walked outside your house. Now you outside with them. Just close the curtains. We're not going to argue, because we understand that what we think we become. So if they think that, then let them think that. This is why, again, in these discussions, I have them. You accept what you accept and you leave what you don't. I'm not here to convince you. I'm going to leave it here. If you want to take it for nourishment, sure, it will nourish you. If you want to leave it, leave it. You have free will. And we are simply going to determine if we are willing, able, and ready to go to war for ourselves. Because it is a battle. And we understand that, because we never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. And lastly, a quote from Seneca: as the soil, however rich it may be, cannot be productive without cultivation, so the mind, without culture, can never produce good fruit. That personal growth, we have to nurture that. And the way we nurture that is through reflection and giving ourselves that care or grace in that moment to be able to receive that, to be able to, again, reflect and receive. Because we may reflect, but then we're not willing to receive. We reject that. So now let's talk a little bit more about the spring in relation to us. And as I spoke about earlier, spring being that metaphor, right? So for me right now, the spring is, when I think about it, I think of like the sun is now shining. You think of green grass, or I think of green grass. I think of like kids coming out to play, um, rainbows coming to my mind. Maybe that's because St. Patrick's Day was, not too long ago. Bunnies, because Easter. So these things are like renewal. And what we're talking about now is renewal of the soul, and how the spring is a metaphor for that. We just came through the dormant winter, and now we are springing into this new life where we know the summertime is, sun is shining, hot weather. We're living in the summer. Right now we are springing rebirth, renewal, and awakening. And so we want to understand necessarily what it means when we are being renewed. So we may not see that to be renewed at this time. We may still be going through some winter. We may still be having winter weather right now, and we may not see the renewal or feel that renewal coming. And so, as we are moving or have been moved into this springtime, to be renewed means we are going to be releasing what no longer serves us. So we don't need the winter coat no more. We don't need the boots and the sweaters, and we don't need all of that. We're about to turn off the heat and turn on the cool air. So even if we're able to visualize that, moving from the winter where we put on a lot of layers to keep warm, we layered up. And now the spring is coming and we are taking off those layers. We don't need as much clothing anymore. We're going to need less. Now it's going to be cool, to cool down. You ever heard somebody say it's cooling up? That's because literally the temperature must drop for it to be cool. So as the temperature outside rises, we must cool down. So if you are going into the springtime with all those layers on and it's hot outside, you're going to surely be dying up in there. And you're going to be like, this is the worst. You're sweating and you're looking while everybody else is looking comfortable because they've shed their layers. You got your layer still on. We have to begin to release what no longer serves. Take some of those layers off. Because it's going to be hot regardless. It's going to heat up. And if we keep those layers on, again, we are going to be uncomfortable. If we keep holding on to what no longer serves us, this journey is going to be uncomfortable. Because we're not preparing ourselves as these seasons change. We are stuck in one season as if the seasons don't change. That's being stubborn. Release what no longer serves you. To be renewed means to open yourself to be transformed by what you've been through. We're releasing, taking off those layers, and we're opening ourselves up to be transformed by what we went through. Not closing ourselves off to it. We're going to open ourselves up. We're going to examine this now. We're going to look into our finances. Open up that book or that app, the banking app, and you're now going to look at your expenses, what you've been avoiding. Content creators, as a content creator, someone who creates content, I like to say that better. You have to look at metrics. As a business, we have to look at metrics. Those are the numbers that you want to avoid. You don't want to see, a lot of times what they're reporting is what you lost. The negative effects. Well, you lost followers, or this quarter business was down. You look at your finances and you didn't make as much money, or things costed more. So now you have less here. You don't want to see that. Yet it is that information that actually empowers you. So by avoiding that information, we don't have the understanding. We can't create an understanding because we're missing data that we need to apply to our life to understand, well, why is this happening and how do we get over there? You're missing that piece because we don't want to look at that, because we think it's negative. Yet again, what goes down must come up. And I'm also thinking of cold and hot, which are representatives of negative and positive. We can reframe these things. Instead of thinking of everything, a loss as negative, just think of it as it got colder. So if we looked at not losses in, let's say, business or followers or finances, you just looked at it as a weather report. It's colder over here. And why is it colder over there? And it's warmer over here. Okay, well, why is it warmer over there? Anything that we can do to create a better understanding for ourselves so that we begin to release what no longer serves, which is a lot of these negative emotions attached to misunderstandings. We begin to open ourselves up to be transformed by what we went through. Because now we're saying, oh, okay, I see that that was a result of me doing something. So if I change that, then I can change those results. Yes, you can. So if my business was down, that was a result of me doing something or not doing something. If I change that, then the results, our business can go up. Yes. Same thing with my finances. Yes. Same thing with my emotions. Yes. Yet you have to be willing to be transformed by that. You have to be willing to look at that, what you went through, the decisions, the actions that created the outcomes. And renewal is trusting that each new beginning starts within. And we got to know that everything starts within. Just like everything must grow in the soil first. You have to plant that seed in the soil, and then it's going to sprout outside. The seeds are planted within us, and then they sprout outside of us. So what we're actually seeing is the type of seeds people have planted. And this is the way I look at it for me. So it allows me to know where to go and what to avoid. I'm just like, okay, I'm not going there, not going there. And you start to just flow through things because instead of judging somebody, I'm just looking at everybody as their own ecosystem, their own planets, their own farms. And it's like, okay, what did you plant? Oh, that's what's growing out of you. Okay. All right. I don't need that. Don't need that today. Sometimes I might need that, but I don't need that today. Because the whole point is for me to remove myself from being attached to all these things around me anyway. And so if as I'm able to look at people and things and remove that judgment to not even want to be like, oh, why is this person doing that? Or what? No, it's just, oh, okay. Well, okay. I take it as it is. It allows me to be freer, to flow through life. And what is this life about? This is my life. This is your life. Why are we making it about somebody else? No matter how good they have it, it does not trickle down to you. You're watching them celebrate, wishing you could, not knowing that you should and that you would. When you plant the seeds in the right soil within. Because I'm telling you, you can come plant them in my soil. Trust me, they're going to grow. But that's when they harvest, that's not yours. That's mine. You planted that over here. You're planting that over here. Those new beginnings start within. Psalms 51:10 says, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. There's a theme that we start to see. No matter where we are in scripture, because here we go through it all. We go through it all. No matter where you are, what religion you come from, what walk of life you come from, what your understanding or misunderstanding may be, you start to see a theme. There is always the talk about I and me. It's never create for them and hopefully they. It's like the true power is when you are creating within yourself, developing within yourself to then produce. Because you're going to produce regardless. So imagine you are sitting around not developing yourself, not pouring into yourself, yet you're still producing. So what are you producing? See, if we see that it never stops, no, you're always going to be producing. Like you're always going to be consistent. So what are you consistent in? And being able to identify that, being willing, able, and ready, willing to identify it, able to receive it, and ready to do something about it. This is when the change gonna come that Sam Cooke was talking about. Because it's gonna come. Oh, yes, it is. So this is showing us that rebirth begins when we ask for alignment with our higher self. Ask and ye shall receive. So the question is, what are you asking for? And if you don't know, check what you're receiving. Because it tells us when we ask for it. So what are we asking for? And he sat upon the throne, and he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. I'll leave that one right there. There are some that just hit, and I'm just like, nope, we're not going to even go on that one because they can go multiple ways. So, again, there is no interpreter needed for God. He's going to speak to you. So, just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again. Just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again. Gautama Buddha. So it doesn't say one time and then you're done. I'm good. Whew, glad I got that over. No, it's over and over and over again. Because again, to live inspired every day forever means that we never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. Daily effort. Every day forever. That cycle, when you can start seeing yourself putting in daily effort every day forever, you are truly living inspired. Yet just those words can seem like a daunting task. Daily effort every day. The thing is, we do give daily effort every day. We just want to shine a light on what daily effort are we giving? Where are we giving that effort? And if we turn that around, take a little bit from over there, stop giving all our daily effort to the workplace, take a little bit back, hey, take some of those chips back. Stop giving all of our effort to the social media apps, take that back in platforms that it benefits them. Take it away from giving all our time and space to everybody and everything that wants to call us and ask us for a few minutes of our time, but we don't really get that in return. And you start to put those back into you. What happens then? This is part of that daily effort. We're doing it. We just want to see what we were doing, understand that, and start to make the corrections. Because this is not a one-time thing. This is us recognizing that, this is a journey. So the idea of a destination, we should remove that and just recognize it's a journey. The issue is, I know a lot of us don't experience walking. We're either on public transportation or in somebody's car, Uber, Lyft, whatever it is. We don't really walk as much. And the way that our cities are being built nowadays, they are encroaching on that anyway. You have more roadway than you do walkway. So it discourages walking. And so what that does is it creates a barrier, disillusion between us and reality. When we're always in these vehicles that are moving fast, everything we see is moving past our face at a speed that we can't relate to. When you walk, everything is slowing down. And now you're seeing the tree. And you're seeing these things at a pace that you can relate to it. So in our life, we are moving so fast that it makes it hard to relate, to see what's actually going on until we begin to slow down and start to walk. Now we can start to see the things that are around us, to relate ourselves, to start to notice the changes, to embrace those changes. We control that. The rate of speed that we are moving in, we control that. We just have to, again, are we willing to change, switch it up? We're driving yesterday, well, we're going to walk today. And that's just, again, symbolism to say, all right, I've noticed I was moving fast. I'm going to slow down today. I'm going to create more space for me. I'm going to take less calls. I'm going to do less worrying. I'm going to breathe more. I don't know how to breathe. I'm going to figure out how to do that and begin to do that more, to tap in. Japanese proverb tells us that even the cherry blossom lets go to bloom anew. Even the cherry blossom lets go. So even nature has it in their nature to let go because they know that that's how they're going to bloom anew. Maybe it is our human nature that tells us to hold on and not let go. And so if we are holding on and not letting go, we are hindering the new. Reflect on what is trying to be reborn in you this season. What old habits or identities are you being called to release? What old habits, thoughts, or identities are you being called to release? I had to stop and think about that myself for a second. What old habits, thoughts, or identities are you being called to release? It makes me, yeah. We grow despite struggle. We grow despite struggle. So no matter what you went through, you still grew. Because that's what it does. It happens through that. The growth happens through what you've been through. So no, yeah, that's the thing that I smile about now, to realize that no matter what happened, despite all of that, I still grew. Despite all that, you still grew. Imagine. And you done been through some shit, some beep, and you still grew. And we we think about it in such a daunting way that it demoralizes us. Yet we're empowered once we understand that every challenge you face has either refined you, taught you, or prepared you. They say it make you or you break you. If it broke you, it was so that you could mold yourself back into something new. Maybe we need to focus more on recycling in this world. Because we keep thinking that just because something is broken, that it's trash and it's just going to disappear like in a video game and not come back. No, what is broken can be reused, is reused to make something new. I know you throw your trash out and somebody else comes and gets it so you don't see the process. But that trash ain't just being burned. And if it is being burned, there should be a reason behind that. We recycle because, again, the thing that you threw away is actually the thing that someone or something else is going to use to build a new. So when you think that I'm broken and this is it, no, you're broken. That's just the state that you're in right now, or that you were in. Now we're going to create something new from these broken pieces. Oh, is it kintsugi? I believe it is. I may be wrong. If I am, I'll correct it later. But I believe it's kintsugi art. But either way, like I fell in love with this art because it's like it's broken pieces that are put back together with this glue that's like filled with gold flakes, and it is beautiful because now all the cracks have gold in it, and it makes a new piece of art now that's made from broken pieces of art, and that's really symbolic to who we are. Those broken pieces of you were put back together with gold. And the reason why we looking at you like that is because we wondering why you walking around sad when you shining. You don't see it. I remember somebody said this to me in so many words, and it woke me up like never before. Like and I told them the impact of these words later on, but they were like, basically like speaking to my intelligence, something that I didn't embrace in my life. And they had saw that. Like they were talking to me and they can see, they stopped and they said, but I see that you don't accept that. You don't believe that. And it was like, it was an eye opener for me because like I was being called out, yet I didn't even recognize that because it was a situation where I felt a certain way. Like I felt like I was that, but I didn't understand necessarily why I wasn't that. This is making sense. And it was because it's like you didn't believe it. Like you're close. You're right there. You're walking around. Like we can see that now you're standing upright, but I can also see that you don't fully believe it yet. Like it hasn't clicked for you. And I didn't know that. So I'm like, wait, I don't. Wow. Because if I did, then these doubts that I had in this area wouldn't necessarily be there. And so I needed to see that in order to be able to embrace that there was more work that I needed to do. Because at that time, I was thinking that, oh, this was a destination. Excuse me, somewhere that you just arrive to, right? And that's it. So if I do these things, now I'm there. So where is everything? Why is it not here? It's like, because you got to keep going on the journey. What you talking about? No. I thought if you do these things, then all of a sudden, boom, this was going to happen. It's like, nah, it don't happen like that. And it should never happen like that because at that point, then you're just doing it for a result. And you're not just understanding that, you become that. And then you just receive. You're not even looking for it. Just put your hands out, some falls in it. People are like, what the hell? Because that person is a believer. And it is unbelievable when you're seeing it. Yet when you're in it, you fully understand. And so when that person had said that to me, it was like, wait, I didn't believe. I didn't really stand on it like that. I was getting to that point, but I didn't fully embrace it. sometimes I wasn't seeing a challenge that it refined me. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know how you can talk to somebody and you'll give them advice and they don't really accept it. They be like, yeah, but, and you're like, well, what's the point of me talking to you then? That's how, that's what I was doing to myself was, yeah, but and there's no room for that. You got to remove the but, the rebuttal, a rebuttal. And I'm saying that because that is a word that I would like us to remove is but. Or if you don't remove it, understand that but it's not just behind, it's a rebuttal. It's the shortening of rebuttal. If you understand what a rebuttal is, every time you say but, that's what you did. Anything before that, get it out of here. You just refuted it. And you have people that'll say, no, see, that's not what I mean, but, yes, for every but, it is the same thing. And we oftentimes are the biggest rebuttal. We're the one that's going but ourselves all the way out of life. Change yourself, allow yourself to have a growth mindset. Like when something happens, you are asking yourself, what is this moment teaching me? Not why is this happening to me? Change the why to what? And begin to extract these lessons in your life. And one way we can do that is handy dandy notebook. Blues Clues. Hey, shout out to Blues Clues. Well, a journal, for real. A journal is going to serve you. We just leave it right there. It's going to serve you. And you dictate how it serves you by what you transcribe in it. And so we want to start that growth journal. So we can start documenting daily, weekly, monthly, however you want to start. We don't want to start it in a way that's going to be too much for us to maintain. So if daily is too much, don't worry about doing it daily. See if you can do it once a week. See if you can remember once a month to write in there and just sit down and just write. If you want to sit down and write for until your hands give out, or type until your fingertips can type no more, or speak it in an audio form until you can't speak, till your voice is hoarse, do that. Simply begin. And we're going to take this growth journal and we're going to document these lessons because we want to begin to reframe this failure as feedback. We want to see those numbers. Bring that in here. I want to see what happened last quarter and what we did and why it went down. And now that's what I look at. I want to see the numbers. What I don't necessarily look at is all the positive numbers. Like everything's going up, great, great, great. So show me the negative numbers. Okay, what's dropped below? What's going down? Because that's what I want to know. Because that's going to inform me just as much as the positive feedback is going to inflate me. So there's a time where I need to be inflated, yet there's also a time where I need to be informed. And I simply allow the information to inflate me in a way that is cyclical. So I don't just get inflated by all the positive things that are going on. And then you see something and it deflates you. And now you just, I want to be like that thing at the oil change shop that just blows in the wind wherever the wind goes. It's like that thing, it just goes where the wind blows, literally. That's how I want to, when people look at my life, I want it to look like that. Like, he just went where the wind blew, and he was just everywhere. Just shoo, 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 shoo. But you don't never see it fall. And if it do fall, it comes right back up. And it always got a smile on his face. So this growth journal is going to allow us to debrief. We're going to write down the lessons. We're going to reframe those losses into lessons. And those lessons are going to create better experience. And through that, we're going to practice gratitude. And I say practice in a way that makes it seem like it's something that we're going to necessarily have to do. Like you got to sit there and practice gratitude. Gratitude is naturally happening as you see these things. So the practice of gratitude is actually in the doing. It's in the development. So it's a byproduct. So when you do these things, you develop more gratitude. When we're not doing these things, where is our gratitude going? To whoever or whatever is doing that. And so we are simply putting ourselves into action in our lives so we can start being grateful for the things that we are producing, because that's how it should be. You should be producing because it is your life. And so you deserve gratitude. But we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulations worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. But we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Tribulation worketh patience. Boy, you worketh my last nerve. I knew I was a tribulation to my mama. I knew it. I knew it. Because I was working her patience. And that patience created experience for both of us. And in that experience, there was hope. Hope that I would go sit down somewhere. And hope for me that she was going to let me go outside because I want to go outside. But no, seriously, it is, we glory in tribulations, knowing that the tribulations worketh our patience. And our patience experience. And that experience hope. Knowing this, the trials and tribulations are there to work your patience. And your patience is there to create experience. So develop that patience, meaning develop the ability to withstand the storm. You think patience is just let people do whatever? No, no, no. You are strengthening yourself to withstand a storm. You look outside and you see the house that withstood the storm, and you're going to say, damn, that's a strong house. What is that made out of? You see the other houses that just flew by as soon as the first gust of wind came. You say, oh, they're standing on a weak foundation right there. You see that? This is the story of the three little pigs. Do you want to be the straw house or the one made of brick? When you are made of brick, you understand that those tribulations work your patience. So you got to be of brick. I know, okay, we got to, whatever they doing, whatever's going on right now, I need to stay steady, stay solid. These things are going to push me. These things are going to, as my high school football coach would say, bend but don't break. These things will make me bend, but I cannot break. So they're going to work my patience. But if I'm patient now, that's more experience. And that experience, the more that I experience, the more hope that I'm going to have. Because when I was growing up, Medea, she was the most hopeful person, period. Why? Because she'd been through a lot. So you wasn't moving her when it was like, oh my God, the baby is sick. Give me that baby. Come on. This baby gonna be all right. Huh? Take the baby over there. I was like, oh my God. What happened? she, she broke up with me. Boy, go sit down. You'll be all right. That little girl ain't da-da-da-da. Like, huh? What? Nothing's happened. I'm bleeding, huh? Oh, don't worry about it. Wrap this up. Like, it was always, it was nothing. Because the experience that she had allowed her to get through all of those situations. And that, to me, that created hope within me, because it was like, yo, to see that, like, how can you just be calm, cool, and collected, and you did, like, everybody else is going crazy because they had the patience, they had the experience, and they had the hope. And I'm thankful to learn from that, to be able to see that, to be able to witness that, because yeah, my grandma was or they say a brick house, withstood some storms, tumultuous, and I believe that that's where that I get that from. For out of difficulties grow miracles. This is Jean de la Bruyere. Another quote that we have comes from Ram Dass. Suffering is part of the training. We hear so much, again, no matter where it's coming from, how this is a part of our journey. And what I'm starting to see personally is that the issue that I had was I was trying to remove these things from being a part of the journey, recognizing that you couldn't remove them no matter what you did. And as I began to understand them, this is where the power comes from. To know that these things are a part of it, so that I don't need to remove them. I need to understand how to maneuver. Okay. That's a lot easier than wanting to remove them. When you recognize you can avoid it to begin with. You don't have to. Like, wait, I don't have to go through that? Mm-mm. Everybody is going to have trials and tribulations. That don't mean you have to have the same trials and tribulations that they do. That doesn't mean your trials and tribulations have to ruin you. That doesn't mean you have to look at it as woe is me, that there is no way out. When you understand that it's a part of it, you know that you're going to get out, because you're like, look, this is a part of it. This is what happens here. Relax, bro. We'll get through this. All right, now I need to fortify myself to make myself resilient to these things, so I'm not reacting. And then you start seeing how many people are just around here to provoke you anyway. That's all they want to do. They just want to push your button and watch you go off and then run away and say, ha ha, you saw that? I pushed their button. I got them. And when they can't push your button, that's when they really get mad. They start throwing temper tantrums. And you be like, dang, these grown kids. For smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. This is an African proverb, just reminding us that the necessity of struggle for strength. So as a reflection question, I want to ask, what was one lesson hidden inside a recent challenge that you had that helped you grow into a new version of yourself? What was one lesson that was hidden inside a recent challenge? So you reflected on this and it helped you grow into the new version or a new version of yourself. If you want to grow, you must prepare the soil. So to prepare that soil, we want to make time for a quiet reflection, whether that's at the end of the night, in the middle of your day, at the beginning of your day. Make time for that quiet reflection. Let go of the need to try and rush the process. I know that's personal for me. Letting go of the need to want to rush it, to have it happen right now, today, or next week, or anything. Just going through and developing that process and proceeding. Begin to clear the physical, mental, and emotional clutter. And there are different tools and ways that we've discussed that. And if you like to, you could reach out. We will give you those, talk about those with you. The ways that you can clear physically, mentally, and emotionally. This is how we prepare that soil. You need that quiet reflection time so that you can begin to let go and to slow down and realize that there's no need to rush. It's going to happen when it's meant to happen. And then to do the things to clear your physical space, your mental space, and your emotional space. So now you have more room for those things to grow in. So, practical tools. We talked about that growth journal. You want to keep a growth journal. You can title each day, what did I learn today? You can start simply there. What did I learn today? Yeah, and you can start with, I learned that Ted is a freaking idiot. Just start with, what did I learn today? But don't stop there, right? And keep going. And eventually you'll realize, okay, Ted is probably an idiot, but it's not about Ted. All right. Set weekly reflection days. So if you have an issue with staying on daily tasks, right? Set a reflection day for yourself. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. Do a meditation or prayer for rebirth. Focus on that inner cleansing and renewal. And you can now Google all of this. You can Google if you don't have one. However, I would say close your eyes, take a deep breath, and trust the one that's already in you. Like, we want you to create one for yourself because it's more powerful that way when you create that mantra, that meditation, that prayer, because this is the inner cleansing for you. And so it may be something simple. Yet, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can Google that or you can reach out. Again, we provide things like this as well. And so I want to end with reminding us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind and to not allow it to consume us. The renewing of our mind will transform us. So if we're not renewing our mind, in what way are we actually transforming our life? So lastly,